Welcome to Dr. P.C. Verma Economist YouTube Economics class. In this class, we discuss topics related to UPSC Economics, MENS, IES Economics, RBI Economics, and Economics in Bihar Public Service Commission for Financial Service, and in other states where economics is opted for as an optional paper. In economics, we teach microeconomics, macroeconomics, public finance, economic growth, economic history, statistics, econometrics, mathematical economics. These are related to All India Economic Services. Today, we are discussing new rules to guide fiscal policy. We all know that before 1930, there was classical fiscal religion, classical fiscal constitution, classical fiscal practices that was rejected by John Maynard Keynes in 1933 and thereafter. We all know that President Roosevelt invited James Keynes to come to USA and suggest measures how to remove as unemployment. 160 lakh Americans were retrenched from the job and they were unemployed. How to cure this problem of unemployment created by Great Depression? President Roosevelt asked John Maynard Keynes to have diagnosis, proper diagnosis of this cause, and he also demanded prescription for this problem. And Keynes had given shortest solution. Then if you want to get rid of this problem just now, in few days, in few hours, then there is only one solution. Public expenditure must be increased by public debt and by government spending to create employment. How can it be possible? Digging holes in gold mines. Mind it, this is written in his book, The General Theory of Employment, Interest and Money. Digging holes in gold mines. That means you have to do nothing but only give employment to the 160 lakh unemployed youth of USA that join this gold mines. We all know that there are many gold mines in USA, Nevada, Colorado, California, Mississippi. At many places, gold mines are there. So you just start it. This will lead to quick solution to the problem of unemployment, and they will get everyday dollar in their hands. They will spend that dollar in the market, and the overproduction problem in the American economy will be gradually solved. As soon as overproduction is removed from the factory, they will require new product, and for that they will call back their workers who were unemployed during the depression period. This is the fact that for shortest, very short run, employment can be generated by this prescription. Can say the another prescription is for short term. I have expressed very short term, that is digging holes in gold mines and giving employment immediately. Another thing, John Maynard Keynes says that the short-term measures that will from 1933 to 1936, in 3 years, what government should do? Huge amount of public expenditure, public spending in the USA by taking public debts, by borrowing, by public debt, and that money will be that will be spent on the construction of roads, 4 lanes, 6 lanes, 8 lanes, construction of government buildings, construction of different quarters, construction of hospitals, construction of schools, and dollar will be spent in short run. This will create employment opportunities, and those who are not willing to work in gold mines, they will come to this one. The main thing that Keynes suggested, public spending more and more out of taking public debt. This is challenged by James M.Buchanan, that this method might be correct at that time when Keynes said, but it cannot be taken for granted for always in every country. Because public debt means you have to pay interest over public debt, and that interest will pay after 20 years. It will be tax burden, public debt burden will be on future generation, that is posterity. Future generation will have to pay for that. This is not good, as James M.Buchanan pointed out. He became very popular in the US economy. He said that Keynesian revolution, which started in 1933 and successfully implemented in 1936, there were removal of unemployment problems. But this method, Keynesian method, is not proper for every future year. It should not be the policy of the government. What should be the policy of the government? Policy of US government to maintain balanced budget. James M.Buchanan was awarded Nobel Prize. He is a winner of Nobel Prize in economics. And he suggested that it is not good to follow Keynesian revolution policy, that more and more spending, taking public debt from the market, because this will lead to burden on future generation, burden on posterity. So what he suggested, James M.Buchanan suggested that central bank has power to create money, and printing of notes at very low cost. James M.Buchanan said that printing of notes will have no problem of payment of interest for in future and burden on the future generation. There will be very least cost in printing notes, but it is the power of the Federal Reserve System in USA. It is the power of Reserve Bank of India in India. It is the power of central banking system in different countries of the world. So James M. Buchanan suggested that government must not follow the policy of fiscal deficit on the basis of loan and the public debt, borrowing from the market, borrowing from the market, increasing public debt on the country. He suggested that it is better to adopt RBI on the recommendation of government, printing notes, and that printing notes, printing dollars will be spent for employment generation and economic growth of the country. This was the main finding, James M.Buchanan, and he was awarded Nobel Prize in economics because he was always in favor of public choice, policy of public choice. He was always thinking about the correct decision making, and so he became very popular. New rules to guide fiscal policy. What we find out, the new rules that were to guide fiscal policy where they are simple. Budget budget deficit, budget deficit, budget deficits were to be created. Budget to be created when aggregate demand aggregate demand threatened to fall short of that level. Of that level required to maintain full employment, to maintain full employment. Conversely and symmetrically. Budget surpluses were to be created. Were to be created when aggregate demand when aggregate demand threatened to exceed to exceed threatened to exceed full employment full employment targets. Generating public inflation. Generating price inflation. Generating price inflation. A balanced budget would rationally balanced budget. A balanced budget a balanced budget would rationally would would rationally would rationally emerge would rationally emerge only when aggregate when aggregate demand was predicted. Demand was predicted to be just to be just sufficient sufficient to generate generate to generate employment. full employment. Yeah, let full employment without without exerting without exerting inflationary pressure. Inflationary inflationary pressures on prices. On prices. Otherwise, otherwise, unbalanced budgets unbalanced budget would be required would be required. Required. Functional finance. in this pure regime. Pure regime of functional finance. Functional finance. A regime in which the government's budget government's budget government budget was to be used was to be used government budget was to be used and used rationally and used rationally as the primary as the primary instrument is as a primary instrument for stabilization for stabilization for stabilization. Budget deficits or budget surpluses budget surpluses might emerge might emerge budget deficit or budget surpluses might emerge over some cumulative over some cumulative multi-period sequence. Multi-period sequence. Multi-period sequence. Those who were those who were most explicit, most explicit. Those who were most explicit in their advocacy in their advocacy in their advocacy of such a regime of of such a regime expressed little or no concern little or no concern little or no concern for the direction for the direction of budget of budget unbalanced 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 over time. In the wake of the experience in the wake of the experience, the experience of the Great Depression, of the Great Depression. However, the emphasis was the emphasis was placed on the possible, on the possible need for a continuing or a continuing sequence of deficits the potential application potential application the potential application of the new fiscal principle of the new fiscal principle fiscal principle is the potential application of new fiscal principles in threatened inflationary pressure in threatened in threatened inflationary periods. Periods was discussed was discussed largely in hypothetical terms. In hypothetical in hypothetical in hypothetical terms. appended to lend analytical summary to the policy model. Largely the potential application of the new fiscal principles is intended policy in threatened inflationary period was discussed largely in hypothetical terms. Fiscal term. To show analytical symmetry to the policy model. To the policy models. Policy models. As written by the potential application of the new fiscal principles in threatened inflationary period was discussed largely in hypothetical terms to show analytical symmetry to the policy models as written by M.Buchanan. Thus, we come to the conclusion that the new precepts for fiscal policy is related to the new rules that were to guide fiscal policy, and This shows when budget deficit is to be created and when budget surpluses were to be created and when balance could be rationally used when aggregate demand was predicted. So in the pure regime of functional finance, a regime in which the government's budget was to be used and used rationally as a primary instrument for stabilization, budget deficits or surpluses might emerge over some cumulative multiple sequence. Those who were most explicit in their advocacy of such a regime expressed little or no concern for the direction of budget unbalance over time. In the wake of experience of the Great Depression, however, the emphasis was placed on the possible needs for continuing sequence of deficit. James M.Buchanan finally concludes the potential application of the new fiscal principle in threatened inflationary period was discussed largely in hypothetical terms, and it is being shown analytical symmetry to the policy model. So this is all about the new precepts for fiscal policy established by James M. Buchanan and Richard E. Wagner in his book Democracy in Deficit. It is accessible to the students who are paying on economic service and taking economics in UPSC. Must read Democracy in Deficit book written by Nobel laureate James M. Buchanan and co-authored by Richard E. Wagner. Thank you for watching this video. I am Dr. P.C. Verma, teaching economics from 1973 to 2025. And at last, like it, those who are viewing this video, like it, share it, subscribe it, and share to one or two friends so that you can have a healthy discussion on this topic with your friends. Thank you for watching this video.